Morning. Still morning for another minute, so good morning. It is Monday. It's been a few days. That was on purpose. All kinds of weird crap going on. You got Israel and Iran and the U.S., sort of. It'll be U.S. soon enough. You got G7 here in southern Alberta. You've got no kings down in the States. You've got all the protests this past weekend. Besides No Kings, you got a week of bizarre protests that only seem to happen after dark because, you know, only cowards come out after dark. You get the things happening in Portland because, you know, apparently Portland is left to fend for itself. I don't know why the Marines weren't sent there instead of LA. LA is pretty, but look what happened to Portland the last time in the Summer of Love. I'd have sent them there. Let those guys know what was up. But to each their own. I don't want to talk about any of that today. I think enough people have done that. I want to talk about the education system. I think that we've had the current education system as an experiment long enough. I think it's broken. I think it needs to be fixed. And I think there's a way to do it quite simply. Put a lot of people back into the trades, bring trades back into the school, and stop wasting people's time. I think a lot of kids leave school, leave high school in and around grade 10 because we're trying to force feed them into an education system that just doesn't fit everybody. So bear with me as I rant and rave about schools, and maybe a few people will agree with me if anybody ever watches this video one day. I think the pipeline is fine up until late middle school. And then at about grade 9, grade 10, that grade 9, I think a decision needs to be made. I think kids know at that point what they really want to do. They could change their mind at some point, but I think down deep they know whether they're going to be um, scholastically aware or whether they're going to be bound for trades or whether they're going to be scientific, which could send them off into a research thing, a doctor type deal, or whether they're going to be a plumber or an electrician. And trust me, there is nothing wrong with plumber, electrician. That's either one of those trades I would have loved to have done. I wish I would have done them. It's something I kick my own butt about to this day. I think by the time you get to grade 10, if we split these kids off, we can put far more efforts into the teachers teaching kids who want to excel scholastically into the sciences, and also put more effort into kids who want to excel on the on the and I completely lost my train of thought. See what happens when you get old. Um, Onto the metalworking, woodworking, whatever it is going to be, and um, you can work within the industries as well to get their journeyman certificates done while they're still in school. So that by the time they're ready to graduate, um, they're fully ready to go into the workforce. I think at this point, we've proven over and over and over again that the models that we have just don't work. I mean, how much more do we need to prove? Not every kid is going to get out of school and use history, for example. Why do we need to have a kid who couldn't care less about Columbus taking grade 12 history? Who cares? That same kid may love working with his hands and want to work on it. Maybe that same kid wants to be a pipe fitter. That same kid may be great working with small electronics. That same kid may want to work fixing computers. I think it makes sense. I think we would see far better graduation rates at that point. I think the GPAs would excel as well because you'd have smaller class sizes. You'd have student to teacher ratios that would make more sense. You'd have teachers that were less stressed because they have students that want to be there. Bring back home ec. Does anybody still remember home ec classes where you learned to cook? I do. I remember it. We had it still. We had an entire classroom with ovens and stovetops where we learned how to cook. My brother and I learned how to cook full meals right there in school. Now, to this day, I do most of the cooking in the house. I wonder how many people share this same thought when it comes to schools. I know a lot of people think that auto shops and those types of things should have never been taken out of school. And I know in a lot of European countries that this model is done, where there's a decision made uh, in high school as to what's going to happen, what type of where you're going to branch off, what type of education you're going to get. And that's the type of thing we should be deciding at this point. Are we going to branch our students off scholastically so that they're going to go off into the sciences, or are they going to go off into an industries type program? Yeah, I know somebody who's going off to do electronics is still going to need math. Of course they are. It doesn't mean they don't do math. There's components there that need to still be learned. But do they need to do history to be able to do electronics? Of course not. There's no sense wasting their time with things that they don't need, is all I'm saying. So a kid that, excels at doing auto shop, let's not waste their time in things that they don't enjoy. If they don't enjoy doing, physical education, they do enjoy doing, computer repair or coding or whatever it may be, let's focus where we can keep them in school. Does that makes complete sense to me? Why are we browbeating them into things that we can't get them to graduate on? Have we ever thought that maybe that's contributing to their mental health problems? Everybody says, well, we have to take care of the student. But you're forcing them into doing something that they don't want to do. That's the first problem. Nobody wants to hear that. Everybody's a professional right up to that point. Maybe they should stop and think about it for a while. It's going to take time to fix, but if nobody starts, it'll take forever. Anyway, just a thought. Remember, Opa loves you. Talk to you later.